5. We have just finished our grudge match with Stockport and we took the win 1-0. Interesting first half. We had cards galore. The match ended with 7 yellows on our side. AO, Smith, Fletcher, Maka, Ratbone, Dobson and O'Connell all put the boot in today. The second half was a little bit of a survival game, but survive we did. And my old pals Peterborough also did us a favour and took a 3-0 win against Charlton, which makes the table look absolutely beautiful. All this and more today on your WREXtra Time. I am Paddy Power. This is the local pundit. Come in and have your say.
It's WREXtra Time, baby! Stockport, who are you? Never heard of you. What are they doing? They're losing 1-0 to Wrexham. Charlton, never heard of them. What are they doing? They're 8 points behind the Wrexham.
The Wrexham.
Something messed up with my stream here. Can you still see me, Patty?
I can see you, but you stopped moving.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah, there you are. You're back.
I don't know what happened there. That was weird. Anyway, Jay Rodriguez, he exorcised the demons.
Now, wasn't that the best goal you have ever seen in your life? Sweetly struck.
Who doesn't want an assist to theirself? An assist to himself, puts the ball in there. Woo, that was scary.
Surely he gets both a goal and an assist for that. Surely.
He should. He ought to. How are we doing, Patty?
We are doing well. Now, ladies and gents, roll up. I have just put the link out in the chat. So come in and join us here in the background. We are going to try and get loads of people in today. Come in, have your quick say, and away we will go. Today has been amazing. Absolutely amazing. The match wasn't amazing in play. Well, let's not worry about that. What is amazing is the 3 points for us and the 0 points for Charlton. Absolutely. That is it. That could be the absolute downhill easy street now to drive to the end of the season. I'm sure Wycombe will try and have something to say about that, but they have a bumpy, rocky road. They better have a rally car to keep up with us now at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. We're in the driver's seat. We are in the driver's seat. It just is what it is. There's no other way around it. We are absolutely in the driver's seat here.
Yes, absolutely. First half, we had plenty of players with some interesting play. Definitely, we can talk about AO, bit of Maka. We were J-Rod got his goal. That is a talking point there. And of course, we have the ref to talk about. Started out and we called it early. We were watching the match in the background ourselves, and I certainly called it early, and you guys agreed there was a red card coming.
Yeah.
There was going to be a red card coming.
I don't think it went to the team who I thought it was going to go to. I thought we were for sure going to get a red card.
We were definitely worried that it was going to come our way at some point. But things calmed down a little bit in the second half. They did calm down a little bit, but then a couple of more yellows just to see it out near the end of the match. Wasn't overly impressed with all the yellows. I was worried. But again, another 1-0. We are the 1-0 kings. So I don't care. Let people talk about the 1-0 kings and scraping victories if they want that narrative. The narrative at the end of the season is going to be, and I'm going to say it, it's time to say it, back to back to back, baby.
Absolutely.
It's a common.
Let's go. We're on track. We're doing what we got to do.
Absolutely on track. Now, who is going to be our first guest today? Surely you have plenty of things to say today. And certainly positive ones. Come on. Sometimes people in the chat do give us grief for going a little bit negative. Now, of course, it's not negativity, guys. It's analysis. It's analysis of some flaws here and there from time to time. But what is not a flaw, and what you did say earlier, is people do not give Parky enough credit for the defensive displays of the team. They're
Yeah.
getting it done. Again, may not be the prettiest defensive displays, but who cares? AO, for want of being able to kick a ball long down the field to one of our players, did do his job again today, pulled off saves when saves were necessary. And that's his job. He's a shot stopper. And it's a damn good thing that he is a shot stopper, because very often in matches he pulls off at least 1, 2, sometimes 3 very dangerous, very solid shots on target. So he's the shot stopper we need. In other aspects, he's young. We're waiting for him to improve. And it's starting to look like he's going to get the chance to prove him against championship caliber players. Stitious. I'm going to start saying it, because from here, it's starting to look likely. Now, I whispered that. See, my voice level went down just a little bit there. I was maybe afraid to shout that bit, but let's say it's a common.
It's definitely the confidence is definitely rising in me. I'm getting more and more confident that we can see this out. It does seem like now though it's us and Wickham. I mean, Wickham that's the team.
Yeah.
That's the team we got to watch. Leap Sarah. Did anyone notice the half smile from Parky? He knows how big a result that was. He knows how big the result was.
Yeah, last week we said Bolton is done. They're not going to make it. Huddersfield, really outside possibility. Now we can start to add Stockport to that list. They are almost certainly not going to take second. And Charlton as well are looking like they're done for second. Bar like a miracle. They have to be claiming an extra point in every single match above us to the end of the season, I think, is the way it's working out. I will run those numbers when we're done here, and I'll put out a couple of my graphics inside the Discord for everybody who's over there, because we always continue to chat in the Discord. But guys, come on in. We are still waiting for our first guest. Who is going to come in? I've been talking for almost 8 minutes and we haven't got our first guest today. It's not like we've nothing nice to talk about.
Yeah,
lots
of good things.
Sitting pretty.
Yeah. We can talk about the table. We can talk about players who did well, who didn't. We can talk about all that stuff. Come on in, people. Come on in and join.
John Hills. Charlton have the best chance of the rest as they have to play us, and the easiest schedule. Yes. Yeah. It's not an absolute. Of course, there are elements there that could come into play. There are still 8 matches left. So we're not saying it's an absolute just yet. It's a little early for that, with so many points left. But yes, they're starting to look like that gap is going to be unassailable. It certainly doesn't look like we are going to drop a ton of points with the way we're playing. We are going to take wins, absolutely, with the way we're playing. Maybe a couple of draws here, maybe 1 or 2 losses. But I absolutely think that'll still be good enough. So, John, why don't you come in and talk about Charlton? If you'd like to.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's you want to hit? Let's talk about some of the players, Patty.
Okay.
So who was man of the match? Who are you thinking? Who do you think was man of the match today?
Gotta be J-Rod. He was everywhere. Best player out there.
I don't know about that. I'm not so sure about that.
No, come on. Now, think about it. Just think about it.
Okay.
Amazing penalty. Absolutely amazing penalty. Right? He stepped up. I'm the man. Smith can have the ball, please. Thank you very much. Puts it down. Doesn't even look at the keeper. Doesn't care where the keeper is. Puts a boot on the ball. Gets it right down into the corner. A bit slow. I'll admit it was a little bit slow. And the monster keeper, Adai, had a lovely shot, a lovely save. He got down to it, couldn't handle it. and he chased it. He immediately went after it, and his goal was nice. I am half joking, people here. But no, it was fun. Now, guys, we do have our first guest. Patches is back, and welcome back, Patches. You're first up. I'm going to bring you straight in. Let's go. How are you doing?
Yeah, we're doing great. If anyone's
we are doing great.
We don't have a pulse. But it's the result we wanted. It was always going to be 1-0. Like Parky can drag me kicking and screaming, to want just a little bit more possession, a little bit more composure. It doesn't matter because he knows what the averages are, and for the league that we're in, he knew that enough defensive shape was going to get it done. And I think there were some standouts in the middle. I called out Maddie in the play. I thought he had 3 good step ups into where the ball is like coming against our lines, and he would step up in the middle there. EOC Aaron, hey, like this is why Parky loves him, right? Is because like he needs to count on somebody to get the clearances, get the aerial duels for one. I mean, he won it. I would say the back half of the season, probably the best game like he's had. And it's because we just didn't notice him outside of when he was heading out of ball. So beautiful. I mean, it's ugly. We know it is. But it's effective. Like, what do we want? I don't want anything more. I want to see us go up. And so we'll figure out next year when we figure out next year. But with the men that we have on the pitch, great. It was executed. Like, go back to all the other times that we don't execute well at the end of a game, and we fumbled one at Charlton away because we're not taking care of the time as we needed to. There was once that I did yell at EOC. I'm like, just put it to the corner. What are you doing? But we eventually figured it out. That foul on Stockport really slowed it up there in stoppage time, and that let us just bring it across the line. So a lot of yellow cards, but just didn't really expect anything else. But I wish it was something else. And what do we have now, right, Patty? I mean, it's we got through a tough stretch of 3 games there, dropping that one against Reading. But if you look back at the other, the 10 previous to that, there was always what felt like it was going to be the start of like a decline going into like the last quarter of the season. I think we just need to have that faith and that confidence, as uncomfortable as it is, because I have 0 of each, is that, Parky does know what he's doing. And in Parky we trust. And I can't say that, more than enough today. Especially going up early at the half. I didn't think we could defend for 65 minutes. And it looked like we were able to pull it off today quite well.
Stockport was always going to be a tough battle, and it was going to be a battle. They always come at us, and I kind of expected a bit of a bruiser, and it absolutely turned out to be a bruiser. And the red card did come on their side in the end of it. So that was fun. And if anybody doesn't know, the structure of how we play each other and winning games basically is still alive. For the last 3 seasons, they have won at home for themselves, and we have won at our home. And that's just been it. They've been stronger when they're at home. We've been stronger when we're at home. And will it continue again next season? So maybe have just a minute's touch on that. Do you think Stockport can get through the playoffs and stay there?
Not the way that they're banged up right now. I think they were missing a key striker up top today. If I'm mistaken, more than happy to admit so. But they
gone on international duty. Yeah, they're new striker.
And like I saw the same thing, like with Kone, like as much as we want to say that like it's an 11-man, game, a single person can make a huge difference. I think that we just have the ability to have the most depth in the league, like outside of Birmingham, from what their payroll is, that we don't notice it as much. Because it all kind of looks like crap, but it's effective. But like when you are missing a striker more often than not, especially in League One and League Two, you're just missing that touch. Every other game, putting one into the back of the net, that more often than not means that you're going to have a successful season. And when you don't have that ability to do so, I just never felt threatened outside of a couple. Like there was one block in the first half or early second half that we had a defender sliding across in. I think that was probably the one that I was going to be most worried about. But other than that, they had some looks. They were getting crosses off, but there was nothing that they were targeting up front. So for Stockport to go up, it's tough because we drag you into a fight, right, Patty? I can't say enough to say what they look like against other teams in and around them. But looking at the way that Reading performed against us, as bad as we played, I would say that there's just more offensive impotence on a couple teams in front of Stockport, but I can't grade them accurately based on their striker being out of international duty. Because I would say the same thing about Wickham. That I would say that their momentum in that current game form, that's going the wrong way when you're going to have teams that are going the right way. So it's always going to be stacked against them, but it depends on how well they look with a full unit, like their full strength unit versus what we saw today.
Okay. Guys, we have Bruce McFarling in the background. Bruce, we will bring you in just 2 minutes. Patches, if you want to just take a minute there on something you want to finish with, and we'll bring Bruce in. Thank you very much for coming and joining us today. Do come back even today as well in a little bit once we get a few more in, please. Go ahead.
Absolutely, Patty, and thank you. The one thing I will say is the last few games, I've been noticing that AO has seemed to be coming into confidence. And even though he's making the saves that we need him to make, there were a couple games that he wasn't. So him getting back into confidence is going to be key for us. So that even when we don't play the way that we want to, he's in the right position. He's making the save as needed. Last week against Wickham was even more. Today, he's just right where he needs to be. He seems to be locked in. And I think that bodes well for us moving forward, that even if we're not looking great on the front foot, that we have that extra bit of reassurance on the back end. And so I'm excited for that. I'm excited for AO. It looks like he's finally coming into his form.
Yeah, it does. I agree with that. Absolutely. Some elements of his game need a little bit of improvement, but he's young. We're going to give him that for the moment. And absolutely. Thanks very much, Patches. We will talk to you again very shortly, very soon. Absolutely. Take care. Bruce, how are you doing? Can you hear us?
Oh, I'm okay.
Oh, lost him. I think you. Oh, maybe.
Yeah, let's try again. 2 seconds. Okay, Bruce, we try again.
I'm okay if I've got audio. I had technical.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. We can hear you perfectly there. Do you want to take a little touch on AO before we move off that subject? Let's finish AO. What did you think of his play today? First half distribution not great, maybe, but came into it.
I think he was more confident in the box. He controlled a lot of balls, especially closer to the front of the box than he had been doing when he was a little bit uncertain. His distribution is still needs work, but if he moves from a great shot stopper with little control over his box and weak distribution into a great shot stopper with good control of his box and sometimes shaky distribution, it's okay.
Aaron, what did you think of AO today?
I thought he was fantastic from a shot stopping point of view. That save he made to tip that ball over the bar was incredible. It seems like he gets one of those every game. He gets one, and it's like only AO would have made that save. You know what I mean? Like, nothing against Mark Howard. Howard probably wasn't making that save. He always does something like that. It seems like, and he keeps us in games. And I thought he was terrific today. Interestingly, FOTMob had him as our man of the match today on an 8.3 rating. So that's interesting. We can go through the rest of those later if you want.
Yeah, I will say controlling his area. He did go up to catch a ball today, ignored the attacker in front of him, put his body on the line and ended up on his shoulders,
Yeah.
on his back. And he came out of it okay, but that was a dangerous one. So maybe the nerves have completely gone now at this stage. And he's starting to look good. So Bruce, AO then, do you want to talk about something else? What do you want to say today?
Who else can we talk about? J-Rod.
Okay, J-Rod.
J-Rod finally got his first full week of practice and found out where he was supposed to be when he was playing on defense. And it worked much better.
Okay, yeah.
That's, I mean, it
Go
was
ahead.
more than in the attack, because a lot of time he's been pulled out of the attack by his positioning in defense. His positioning in defense today was great. He was working very well with Smith in blocking off lanes and giving the defender the worst passing option to take, and it was just much better display in the other half of his responsibilities that most people often ignore.
Okay.
So
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, I didn't think he looked much better than he has. I don't think his performance was really any different than what he's done the whole time. And that's just my opinion. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I just didn't. I don't think he's been as bad as what people have said he's been. But I also don't think he was much better today than what he has been. Obviously, getting the goal is huge, and maybe that'll boost his confidence. It worried me obviously when he saves the penalty, and we were talking about it before he took the penalty. I think it was you, Patty, that said, "Oh, what if they let Rodriguez take it?" And then
yes,
Patty said that before while Smith was standing there with the ball. Patty said that, and I was like, "Oh God, no!" Because if he misses it, that'd be I'd be worse, And then,
except Wrexham has had how many rebound penalties?
So many, all of them, I think.
2 or 3 this season, and we finally get a rebound penalty ourselves, and it's J-Rod.
Yeah,
he scores it.
Yeah, the goal itself was really good. That was a great
shot.
The strike was good. I think it went right between the keeper's legs. It was a really good shot.
Oh, it was right underneath the keeper's leg, right along the ground. The only way the keeper could have saved that is if he'd had a strap nailed to the ground to pull himself down.
So, Bruce, do you think people are going to ease up on J-Rod now that he has his first goal?
I mean, he'll get a small amount of cushion, but people are going to come right back on him unless he keeps showing it.
Yeah, well, look, one goal isn't enough. Simple as that. We need more from everybody. But I absolutely think he's doing what Parky expects him to do. I don't think Parky is unhappy in any way with what he's doing. And maybe today he has gotten into some better defensive positions and is maybe getting more comfortable with that role. And he's certainly chasing all over the pitch now. Same as Smith up the front. They're doing the legwork, which is what Parky likes.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give him this. That may have been the most important goal of the season. So
maybe
the fact that he scored that goal, that may be the most important goal in the season when we look back on it. I'm super happy for him. Super happy for him. How about anybody else? You got anybody else you want to talk about, Bruce?
I don't have anybody else that jumped to my mind. I mean, Smith kept doing his Smith thing, and I love them. He wears himself out, but he wears the opposition out as well. And another day, Fletcher's going to take advantage of that and score a goal.
Okay, why don't you hit on the ref, Bruce? What did you think about how the ref started the match and all the cards and everything that was going on there?
I typically focus on the ref when I'm a third party. I was brutal against the ref in the Notts County game earlier today. The ref is when I'm cheering, barracking for a team, the ref is part of the landscape for me. Sometimes it's smooth sailing and sometimes it's rocky. This was a little bit rockier terrain than some days. I wouldn't hope to draw the same ref again.
Yeah. Aaron, do you think the ref was unfair at all? Or did he just play the style he wanted to play?
This is why I don't focus on the ref when I'm barracking for a side, because I'm not paying attention to the decisions he's giving against the other side. I think there were several questionable decisions, but possibly some questionable decisions against Wrexham as well. I just don't want to dwell on them. So he may have been evenly questionable or unevenly questionable. I'm not sure which.
Yeah, I think, to John Merrill's point here, I think he did lose a little bit of control, especially later in the game. I thought early on he was a little card happy. I thought it was a little, and don't get me wrong, the players were getting a little chippy, but I thought maybe he was bringing too many out. And then I think it got to a point where he was giving us so many that he felt like he needed to even it up a little bit, and so he started giving them a little. And I don't think any of them were super bad. I think he just started giving a lot. I thought a lot of them were soft for both sides. So I mean, if he's doing it equally for both teams, I don't think it's bad. At least you're both getting the same thing. Now, here's one thing I'm curious about. Let's be honest. Macca talked us into that penalty.
Yes, Macca pulled the assistant referee into the decision, and the AR is the one who had the view of the ball climbing up the guy's arm.
Right.
Which in some previous decade might not have been a handball, but as far as I understand now, it's your job to keep your hand from being in its way when it's that far away from your body. So, but it definitely climbed halfway up his arm, and so there you go. If the ref was unsighted and it was Macca who got the assistant ref into the call, that was a captain's move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for that, Bruce. Maybe we'll catch you again next time or later in the show if you're still here. That was a great chat.
Okay.
Cheers, buddy. Talk to you again
Cheers.
soon. Cheers. Yeah. So on Macca there as well with the refs. So let's dig into this a little bit. Macca went crazy at the linesman, the side ref. So do we think he was just waiting for Macca to shut up in order to deal with it? Or did he actively get that penalty to be called? I don't think you can force a linesman into a penalty call like that. That's not something that they'll just pluck out of the air.
Well, I mean, it was a good 30 seconds after. I mean, before he called the referee over to have a chat. So I mean, Macca could already took the corner if he wanted. You know what I mean? It was already he was already getting set to take the corner. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what he could have said that would have changed his mind. But I mean, it's obvious he changed. I mean, something changed his mind, because I don't think initially he was gonna give it. I don't think he was gonna ask for it to be given. And so Macca had to have said something that convinced him. You know what? He's right. That is a penalty. There had to be something. Obviously, we don't know what the conversation was, but there had to be something there that. So I don't know. It's interesting.
Okay, so guys, we are waiting for our next guest to jump in, and while we do, the links are out there. We're going to discuss Maka a little bit more, I think, because I think he's worthy of a mention today, Captain. He was shouting at the refs multiple times during the match. But what about his own play? So let's start with the first half, I think, because it was a little bit of a tale of two halves for me. Maybe you'll disagree. Let's see. First half, Maka, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't think he was great in the first half. I thought he overran a couple balls, missed some tackles, where he just whiffed, then completely missed the tackle. Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't his best half of football, I don't think. But I will say I thought he got much better in the second half. I don't know that he was fantastic, but I think he was solid. Interestingly, FOTMOB has him rated as a 7.2, which is probably
That's pretty solid.
That's a solid game, which I don't.
Yeah,
for the whole performance was maybe that's a touch high. But I mean that's the way they graded it. So yeah, I thought he was solid in the second half. He was solid in the second half. I'll say that.
Yeah, did what about changing and Barney when Barney came on? Would you have left Longman on? Would you take a Mac off?
I probably would, especially considering the yellow card situation. Macca being on a yellow. Maybe it would have made more to me. It makes more sense to take off Macca and leave Longman on. You could switch Longman over to the left and then let Barney come in on the right. But maybe Parkey was thinking of he thought the defensive aspect of McLean's game was more important than getting him off to not get sent off for the yellow. And let's be honest, Mac has showed over since he's been here that he's able to get an early yellow and finish a game out and not get sent off.
Yeah, he has done that quite a few times now.
Yeah, he has, and it's almost a sport for him. I think. How early can I get this yellow and stay on? So yeah, I mean he's a veteran of that sport. So I thought obviously tactically Parkey thought okay it's more important to have the defense because if you go to Longman and Barney that's a very attacking change.
Yeah,
and so. Probably when you look at it that way, when we're up 1-0, you probably would rather keep your defensive-minded players on, and maybe just felt like Longman was losing his legs. I don't know. Maybe he was slowing down a bit and wanted to get a little more pace on. So swap Barney out for him, which isn't a bad. I mean, going from Longman to Barney, that's hardly a downgrade. So, or Longman to Barney, whichever. If I said that backwards, but yeah, switching those two, that's not a downgrade.
I will say for Maka though, he did get into some decent positions. It took us a good 8-10 minutes almost to actually do anything in the first half, and one of the first things that Longman managed to do was get a lovely cross to the back post. And Maka was just a step behind. He was chasing that like it was almost the perfect opportunity for him, but just one step behind to getting ahead on it. So yeah, he had a fairly decent game. In fairness,
yeah.
Now, guys, don't forget out there, this is your show. This is a call-in show. This is for you guys to have your say, because obviously you hear us regularly on all the shows during the week. Now I love talking, and I love talking to Aaron. We can talk all night.
We do talk all night,
and we talk when we're not live. So, who's next? Come on, guys, jump in the background here. Plenty of space, and we still have a little bit of time today, but it's going to be a short one. If we are here on our own, so come in and join us. I'm going to throw that link out one more time. And in the chat now, while we're waiting, some of the comments have been mentioning Doggo and his game today. He missed an absolute sitter of a header. right in front of the goal.
No, it wasn't Dabo. No,
Oh,
it
no,
wasn't Dabo. That was Rathbone. Yeah,
Oh, sorry,
Rathbone.
that was Rathbones. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
My apologies, I mixed the two up for a minute. Okay, then let's talk about Davo. Everyone seems to be saying, is he injured? Was he actually hurt when he was getting up limping, or was he trying to hide from a second yellow? What's your opinion on that?
I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to take him at his word, I guess. Yeah, it's hard telling. But yeah, he was putting it out there today. I thought he played well. Thought he played well. What we got here? Hopefully, Dompo's not a bad injury. Yeah. I wouldn't think. I didn't think he looked that bad. Well, when he come off, but I could be wrong. Fought Mob had Dabo as a 7.0, which is a solid match. Actually, I can run through the whole team if you want. So Okonkwo, they had an 8.3, and they have him as the man of the match. Max, they had at a 7.1. Owen O'Connell, they had an 8.1, which is really good. Lewis Brunt, 7.9. Big rating for him. I thought he was good. There were moments where he was really good. I thought he did have his moments. He got on the ball and got pushing it forward. I thought he was really good. Longman was a 7.5. Dobson 7.0. Matty James got a 7.2. A strong shift for him. Rathbone 7.1, and like you said, missed that header. Boy, he puts that in, and then he probably ends up as an 8 somewhere around there. McLean 7.2. J-Rod, despite the missed penalty, he did get his goal, so he got a 7.1 today. That's his best rating he's had since he's played for us. And then Smith was on a 6.9, a solid performance from Smith. I thought he had a chance. He had that one real good chance where we got a break, and he got out on the ball and put that ball across goal. It's good, decent save by Corey Adai. It wasn't a super hard save, but it was a good save. So, yeah. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it was really good. What can I say? Really, Rathbone, Dabo was they played well. But I'm going to move on now. Let's talk about a few others. Smith. So how did Smith do today? He was running his ass off again, doing exactly. And him and J-Rod, we mentioned it earlier. They both looked like the players that Parky normally wants. Is defense from the front of the pitch, get back, get into defense, harass players, harry the defense, and put some pressure on them. So I have a question there for you with that. Do you think J-Rod is now doing enough to slow down the defense in the same way Palmer would have? So this has been a talking point forever. Palmer really puts the pressure on the defense and slows them down, gets them tired for our substitutions. Is J-Rod starting to do that? Is he doing it at all?
Not in the way that Palmer did. Palmer did it physically. Palmer would physically battle with the defenders and really work them over. I don't think you get that from you don't get that type of wearing down from J-Rod. But I do think he works them in a different way. I think his movement and the way he runs around and he harasses them a little bit, in the press. I think his pressing is. We talked about this. His pressing is pretty good. I think he gets himself into places that are annoying for a defender, and he's got he makes them make decisions. So yeah, I think him, his pressing is good. And so he may wear him down that way. But I wouldn't say it's the same as Palmer, though, because Palmer was, he's battling with him. He's beating on him, physically just going after him. So, yeah. But, no.
Yeah, I kind of threw two there at your same time. So, Smith then? Because I went back to J-Rod after I kind of mentioned Smith. So
Smith. Yeah, I mean Smith, still can't figure out what he does. Like his hold up play is really good, but he's also very good, with that attacking. He gets in behind too. You know what I mean? And so it's a different. He's different. He's a more complete forward, I think. Is that fair? He can really do any of those things. Like I could see us playing Marriott with Smith, and Smith being the big guy and holding up the ball. I could see him playing that role. But on the other side, I could see Smith playing with Palmer and being the small guy, being the attacking option, and being the guy that plays off Palmer. I still think J-Rod. I think just the way we play is that they don't. It's different. It's just the way they play with him because he plays in behind, and he's trying. He's coming back and he's retrieving the ball. J-Rod's coming back and retrieving the ball in the midfield to try to get it up. So yeah, it's them two. They're just. I think they're still trying to figure out how they work together the best. And
let's be fair to them, though. They are feeding on scraps.
They're not getting any service.
They are.
Absolutely.
They're not getting any real service whatsoever.
I think that's part of the reason why J-Rod plays so deep is because he's trying to come back and get the ball, and and so that's not necessarily his fault. That's us not getting balls into him. So yeah, that's completely fair. And I'm not saying I'm just not being negative. I think J-Rod is a quality. You can see the quality he has.
Yeah.
It's just I don't think he's quite. We don't play well enough for him to really accentuate
his
where
benefits.
he's good. Yeah, where he's good, we don't help him enough. If we were a better passing team and got the balls into him better, I think he could really create for us.
Yeah.
And I don't think we just don't do a great job of that. And it's because we've not played that. We've not had that type of forward player. We've had Palmer where we're just lumping the ball up to him, and so and that's not really the type of player J-Rod is. He's not a big physical hold up player.
Well, John said here, Smith has the best combo, physical, and also mobility. But notice what he didn't say. He didn't say that Smith can head a ball.
Oh my God. That is his weakness. Heading the ball is his weakness. Certainly seems that way.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a weakness, and in fairness, that is something that we almost expect from every player. Is that you can get on the end of a cross and put the ball on target.
Yeah, and this is a serious conversation. Is since he's not the greatest header of the ball, we do need to figure out how we can get him more balls. Yeah. Because he's not a great, he's not a Fletcher. Fletcher's amazing header. But so balls in the air into the box to Smith isn't his strong suit. We need a ball played through the middle in behind for him to run onto. I think that's his strong suit. I think that's what he does well. Or maybe our crosses need to start coming in lower. We need to work on that.
Yeah.
Put crosses on the floor and let him try to play those. I think that'll suit him better. I think that would suit J-Rod too, because J-Rod's not a big guy. J-Rod's only, I want to say, I think 6 foot. Let me look at his. He's 6'1", so he's not a big man. He's not 6'4", 6'5", big giant Palmer type. He's 6'1". So I haven't seen enough of him heading the ball to know whether he's really a good header of the ball.
Yeah.
He almost got on one today. I can't remember who put it in. It might have been Dobson, maybe, or it could have been Longman. I can't remember who put the cross in. It was a really good cross in, and he almost got his head on it. He just missed it by maybe 4 or 5 inches. It's that's something that we're going forward, even in the next season, that's something we're going to have to be looking at is how we can better serve our forwards, and what they want, what is better for them. So it's going to be interesting.
Let's move on to another player then in our old pal Ollie Ratbone, because he seemed to miss his header as well.
Oh man!
Right in front of the goal.
Oh man, that was
open goal.
Yeah, that was one he should be scoring that one, I think.
Yeah.
That was definitely one he should have put in the back of the net. He'll be disappointed with that one.
Yeah, that was at 68 minutes as well. That was the perfect time to almost put that match to bed.
Yeah, that was.
They're pushing back. They're trying to get on top of us, and that would have been lovely 2-0. And then the red card with Hills comes only 10 minutes after that again. So now, of course, if one thing happens, another thing might change. We're not going to predict the future here. The laws of physics and all of that sort of stuff. But Ratbone, again, very solid, doing what Ratbone does. Now, I was worried at the start of the match because he put in a few boots and managed to survive without a card because it was so early.
Yeah.
But once again, solid game for him.
Yeah, absolutely. He was, just a good, solid game. Just what you'd expect from him. He put himself about. Some good tackles. Like you said, that one was sketchy. One was sketchy. Thought he was going to get a yellow. But yeah, I thought he played well. Thought he played really well.
In the comments there, I'm not going to put it up, talking about 12 times 1-0 win with a comment afterwards. What sort of record is that? I think it's a perfectly fine record. I love that record.
That being said, Rob posted on X. I'll find it real quick. Rob McElhaney. There must be something to that actually, because let me see. I don't know what the record is, but he posted earlier. Okay, he goes, I guess there are worse records to break than the one for the most 1-0 victories, but boy, it is terrible for the nervous system. 8 games to go for history. That was what Rob posted on X today. So yeah, I've not followed. Are we breaking some sort of record there? I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised actually. But yeah, that's something we can look into and check to see if that's actually true.
We'll have to look that up. Interesting.
Yeah. Now, ladies and gents, we are nearly going to finish up this show. So if you want to come in last minute and have a say, if there's something you think we didn't get to, we would like a few more callers here. We keep saying it's your show, so you need to come on board. Let's throw it in again. Copy. Let's go.
Yeah, get in here. Come say hi.
Come say hi. But actually, there is something we missed, and I saw it here in the chat. What about the Smith penalty in the second half? We didn't actually talk about 2 penalties. Now, before we get to the Smith penalty, yes, I did have it there on the list and slipped by me. The first one should have been a penalty.
Absolutely, a Stonewall penalty.
Defender grabbing him by the hand and pulling him backwards, and not called. That was a joke of a decision.
Absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. I don't know how. On what planet is that not a penalty? I mean, you can't. He literally grabbed him by the arm and pulled him back. Like there's no, and he's through on goal. I mean that was a penalty. It just absolutely was a penalty. It was a penalty.
Right. Yeah. So then we get to the real penalty, which was a handball jumping into the air, swinging his hand wildly. Trying to get balance, obviously. Sometimes you jump with your hands to get a little bit of height on it. Of course, accidentally hits the ball, but it's a handball. Completely unnatural movement.
Yeah, his hands up over his head. Yeah, his hands over his head.
Stops the ball potentially getting into the box, into a dangerous position. And it didn't look like they were going to give it either.
Yeah.
And we did discuss this a little bit with Maka, but let's just focus actually on the penalty itself this time. So it didn't look like they were going to give it. And then Maka went over, started shouting at the ref. There was a comment earlier as well saying that he was on his earpiece and his communications already. Now, I haven't seen that myself. It could very well be correct, because I was saying I would like to see it again and see exactly what it looked like from the linesman's perspective. But he probably was calling the ref over already. And they did give it.
Yeah.
Anand, I see you in the back there. Hello again. We'll bring you in and you can join this conversation. Hello.
Hello, everyone. That was a great win.
Yes.
And now we have some distance, so hopefully we can make it a 2-horse race and not get into the last week excitement stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Let's have it over before we play Charlton. Let's be promoted before we play Charlton. That'd be great.
Yeah. So two seconds, Anand. There. Let's just finish the talk on the penalty. What did you think first of all? Handball, absolutely.
It's a 50-50. I think, but in the spirit of the game, the ball was coming back into the middle.
Yeah.
And you can say it's a penalty. The player wasn't looking at the ball, and I don't think he was trying to block out the play either.
Yeah.
So
purely accidental.
Yeah. So I think the only thing that makes it a penalty is that the ball was coming back to the middle, and that was being impeded. It sort of evens out from the last week's missed penalty. These things happen.
Yeah.
I think I don't know how it would. Even a Premier League review would have been inconclusive one way or the other. At the end of the day, the hand was up there, the ball was coming back in, and then after he took the penalty, I think he had some good reaction. I was thinking that he's going to take one more touch before he slots it in, but he got enough power on that ball with his left leg and got it just right.
Yeah.
So who did you think would be taking the penalty when they gave the penalty? Who did you expect to step up?
Yeah, usually the striker has to step up, so it has to be one of those two. I'm sure they have talked about it before the game, and that's who's supposed to take it. Once the goalkeeper guesses it right, things can get dicey. But penalties. The good thing was he reacted well after the miss. I've frequently seen players just standing there in disbelief for that split second. I also saw on the replay the player on the Stockport side that was supposed to be in that area was directing traffic, and he was not paying attention when the penalty was taken. If he had paid attention, I don't think Gerard would have gotten that kick away. But he was not watching, so he got that open space to run into and kick the ball in. So we got lucky a couple of ways. So I'll take it.
What'd you think about the shout for the penalty on Smith where he grabbed his arm? Do you think that was Stonewall penalty?
I might have missed that part in the highlights.
Okay.
Yeah. I did see there was one penalty probably on the Fletcher one. That was a penalty. I was watching the broadcast, and I think what the Wrexham live show afterwards, they said that the umpire was just too scared to give a penalty because that would have meant one more card. So he just let the play go and not give a penalty to either of them. And sometimes the umpires will do that since we're already leading. They will try to sort of balance out the game. I've done that as a ref, so maybe that played into it. I'm happy we don't have to discuss that penalty after a 1-1 score. So, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Phil Jones, no chance penalty. Very lucky today. Ooh. So I haven't seen Phil Jones here before. So maybe he's not a Wrexham fan, or maybe he just has a difference of opinion. So either way, you're welcome to
Yeah.
be here.
A penalty is a game of inches and microseconds.
Yeah,
Gerard reacted immediately. The defender was supposed to be there, was just directing traffic for no reason at the back on the line. If you see the replay, you will see that uh, he started watching the play only after the penalty was blocked. So that gave him, that gave us that valuable second. So, uh, it's a game of inches, it's a game of microseconds. So you could see it right there.
Yeah. So what'd you think of the overall performance today?
It was a great performance. I think we did have some nerves in the beginning. We were losing a lot of balls, but I think as the game went on, uh, I think everybody got into it pretty well, and both the teams sort of made it a point to be very physical. And I think it's eventually got to the umpires to the point where he was just handing out cards. I hope that doesn't bite us in a later game. But yeah, it was a typical Wrexham game, and uh,
yeah, it was.
and again, AO made a brilliant save. I don't think many goalkeepers make that save. To make that save with your right hand going to your left side, that was a pretty uh, high quality save that preserved the points for us.
Hmm. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. That was his reaction time on that was,
It was superb.
unbelievable.
Yeah. But that's what he does. Like that's not an unusual thing for him,
No, it's
and it's impressive every time he does it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. The same as getting down low to his left. That's another one that always looks impressive for such a big guy to get down fast and get the arm down to block a shot coming in from this tight angles. So yeah, he's doing really well. You came in and you started off there talking about the picture for the season now. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that? You were saying about going to a 2-horse race for automatics. Not quite just yet. I did pretty much say that as well, but I was pushing a little bit. But we're getting there, and we're definitely getting there.
Yeah. I think we have a history with Stockport now, and I think, especially when the red card was shown, I think some of that history came out. Even though Smith is relatively new to the rivalry, I think he was rubbing it in there. But I'm glad we got the better of that matchup today.
Mhm.
Okay. Is there anything you think we've missed today that we didn't cover? You want to mention?
Yeah, I think once we rode out the first few minutes, it sort of became a regular Wrexham game where we wear down the opponents and create something out of it. Rathbone did have a miss because he tried to direct the ball a bit too much, so that was a golden miss. But we played the Wrexham way and got our 3 points.
Mhm. Yeah,
I'd agree with
absolutely.
that. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we put the pressure on. We absorbed the pressure at times as well. Second half, as we came back out, we were talking about it at halftime, saying, yeah, you need to take the first 15 minutes, get everything calm because Stockport are going to come at us, and they did. We allowed them to hold the ball, keep possession, and put pressure on us. But we soaked it up in fairness, and we mentioned it earlier. Parky deserves a lot for that. To put together a team that can do that and look somewhat comfortable with it as well. They didn't look nervous about taking the pressure. It was just another day at the office, another job to do, nothing unusual. And then slowly we started to pull it back, which is what we usually do. The dangers often start in the second half.
Yeah, I thought today looked a lot like one of our earlier in the season performances where we were really strong defensively. We let the other team have the ball. So just for if anybody's interested. Stockport had 62% of the possession today, and us with 38. But the XG, we were at 1.24. They were at 0.92. So despite the fact they had most of the ball, we created the better chances. That's what that tells you. We had 3 shots on target. They only had 2. We only had 6 total shots to their 11, but theirs were more. A lot of their shots were speculative shots, weren't really high percentage shots, and that's reflected in the XG. So I just this was very much like one of those early season performances, the first 6, 7, 8 games of the season, where we were really looking good. We were letting the other teams have all of the ball, and we were just defending like crazy, and then we'd hit them on the break and score. And I thought today was this was a very Wrexham-like performance from this season. Yeah, this is how we've won our games this season, was playing like we did today.
And I think there is another factor that I think League One teams are not really looking forward to going into championship. That's the impression you get. Whereas we are dedicated to go into the championship. So there is complete focus on getting to that next level, with I think the other League One teams are lacking, and that might play in our favor.
I am surprised at some of the big names that have had really poor seasons this year. Constantly we were being told this team is going to do better now. They're going to chase you. This team's going to chase you. This team's going to chase you. And they haven't been able to put together a string of results. So it's looking good. Thanks very much for coming on, Anand, there at the end, and having another guest. Always great to have you on board, and we will catch you again next time. Take care, my man.
All right. See you, buddy.
Okay, so we are on an hour. And see, again, once we have a positive day and everything is fine, sometimes it's a little bit harder to get people on the show. So when we get comments saying that, it's too negative, it's only when it's negative that everybody jumps on and wants to talk. It's not our fault. But let's do a positive before we go, because I am going to pull up the table. And let's show that before we finish up.
It's a beautiful thing. It really is.
Oh, it's dark. You can't see that very easily. Okay, hang on. Let's stop. I will keep talking there, Aaron. I'll pull up a different one.
Okay, so I'll just go into the end of the table real quick and just kind of talk it through while you try to bring it up. So right now, with how things ended today, Birmingham obviously didn't play today. They're on 83 points. They've got 2 games in hand on us. We are in second. We are in second now. Played 38 games, and we're on 74 points with a plus 22 goal diff. There we go. And then Wickham are behind us. They didn't play today, so they do have a game in hand now. So they could come back level on us. Now, the thing about that is they don't get that game in hand for another 3 weeks, I think, Patty. We were looking at it earlier. I think it's 3 weeks from now. So there's the opportunity for them to drop points before they make up that game anyway. So we could be even more clear before they make that game up. Then again, they may not. They may keep the pressure on us. But it really is starting to look like a 2-horse race for that second spot. Charlton now, they're in 4th on 66 points, 8 points behind us now. That's a lot to make up in 8 games. Stockport, 9 points behind us now. It's a lot to make up in 8 games. Huddersfield, they're all the way down on 61 points. I mean, they're 13 points behind us. So I don't think they're even in the conversation. So really, Charlton, Stockport are almost got to be perfect from here on out,
Yeah.
and they need help, and they need us to drop some serious points. And to
Yeah.
be honest, we may not drop that many points for the rest
No.
of the season.
So just looking at the next couple of matches there on the top teams, Charlton have Huddersfield at home, then away to Mansfield, and at home to Lincoln. Not easy matches. I know Mansfield have had a poor season, but they are very capable of turning up in a match and doing some damage as well. Certainly a draw would not be out of the question there. So the next three are not that easy for them. Wickham then have Lincoln, Shrewsbury, and Reading. Reading can be a dodgy one there, but they're a bit easier. So we'll expect to bounce back and forth with them. And for ourselves, now that we have gone through our 6-match patch of difficult teams, we get Exeter, I think that is, Cambridge United, and Burton Albion. So it should be winnable matches, lower table. And then at that point, Wickham pick up their extra match against Huddersfield. Yeah. And then the last 5 matches were all even, all square.
Yeah.
In games played. And it's a race to the finish at that point. So
yeah, I think it's us or Wickham now. That's how I feel about it. And they definitely have a tough run of it. I mean, here's the thing: if they beat us to promotion, they will have absolutely earned it, and
yes.
there will be no taking that away from them. And we will. I mean, we are in a fantastic position. We have put ourselves in an unbelievable position right now. We should be favored to get
Yes.
promoted.
Yeah.
We really should be the favorites. I think we've already that's already began even before today. Some of the betting sites were having us the favorite for the second spot, and I think after today that those odds are going to get even bigger. So yeah, I think we are definitely in the driver's seat for that second spot.
So I think that's a good point to say the magic words. And on that bombshell, everybody, we are out of here, and we will see you again after the next match. Take care.
Bye, guys.